Johnny Gill Jr. was born May 22, 1966 in Washington, D.C. to Johnny Sr. and Annie Mae. Johnny was the youngest of four boys. His dad was a Baptist minister as well as a man who didn't suffer nonsense, so Johnny was raised in a strict household. Johnny started singing at age 5 in the church. He jokingly refers to his dad as a minister version of Joe Jackson because his father started having the boys rehearse as a group. Initially, Johnny was in a group called Gospel Stimulation. The group consisted of his aunt, his grandmother, and some of his cousins. Later, he and his 3 brothers formed the group Little John and the Wings of Faith. While he was still a kid, Gill always had a complex about how dark his skin was. In fact, he was conscious of not staying outside too long because he didn't want to let his skin get any darker than it already was. Meanwhile, he and future music star Stacy Lattisaw went to elementary school together and were also in the Glee Club. When Lattisaw was 12, she recorded her first album for Cotillion Records, which was a subsidiary of Atlantic Records. She and her parents also began talking to Atlantic Records president Henry Allen about Johnny. As a result, Gill was asked to submit a demo to the record label. Not knowing what to do, he did the best he could. Ultimately, he used a $29 home tape recorder that he had and recorded himself singing a couple of songs. What Johnny didn't know until later is that when the label got his demo, they were puzzled. They didn't know what to do with that because Johnny just submitted a tape of himself singing a cappella. There was no music or anything like that. Despite that fact, apparently Allen heard something that he liked because one day he called Gill. He wanted Johnny to sing to him over the phone. Gill proceeded to sing the song Shining Star by the Manhattans. Allen then would call different people into the room at different times, meaning that Johnny had to sing the song several different times in order for everybody to hear what he had to offer. Ultimately, it worked, and Allen decided to sign him. Johnny's debut album was released in 1983 and was titled Johnny Gill. His single Super Love hit number 29. The following year, in 1984, he released a duet album with childhood friend Stacy Lattisaw, which was Allen's idea. Their song, Perfect Combination, hit number 10. Away from the music, Johnny and Stacy had been dating prior to Johnny getting his record deal. Johnny would later say that Stacy was his first love. Now remember earlier, we mentioned that Johnny had a complex about his skin color. Apparently, label president Henry Allen knew about this too, because he occasionally would reference this as a way to poke fun at Gill about his relationship with Stacy. While Johnny had darker skin, Stacy was very fair-skinned. In fact, Allen had given her the nickname Heavy Cream because of her complexion. Jokingly, Allen would tell Johnny that Heavy Cream's parents didn't like how dark he was. However, Johnny later said that neither Stacy nor her parents had treated him differently or badly because of his skin color. Also remember, Stacy's parents were the ones that were stumping for Johnny to get signed by the label when nobody even knew who he was. Now, getting back to the music, in 1985, he released the album Chemistry, which spawned the song Half Crazy that went to number 26. Ultimately, as talented as Johnny was, the record label seemingly didn't know what to do with him. He was basically a kid with a grown man's voice. What do you do with that? In 1987, Johnny's life would change forever as he would get the opportunity to take an already famous group to another level. Gill was recruited by Michael Bivins to join the group New Edition. At that time, Bobby Brown had recently been kicked out of the group for various reasons. Additionally, it was rumored that Ralph Tresvant, who was the lead singer of the group, was going solo. If that happened, Mike, as well as Ricky Bell and Ronnie DeVoe, were afraid that they'd be left high and dry with no group. Initially, Gill was brought in to replace Tresvant. For his part, Johnny was completely unaware of any of the existing problems with Brown and Tresvant. Additionally, Ralph didn't know that Johnny was joining the group at all. Once they got past these different situations and they found out that Ralph wasn't leaving at all, they had a 5-man team once again. Many people credit Gill with helping New Edition grow up, as prior to his arrival, their music skewed young and not quite as adult. Additionally, the group members themselves were all now grown men, far removed from youthful sounding songs like Candy Girl and Mr. Telephone Man. However, modestly, Gill credits New Edition with helping make him the man that he is today. His first album with the group, Heartbreak, went double platinum. It spawned the hits Can You Stand the Rain, N.E. Heartbreak, and If It Isn't Love. This would be the last New Edition album for 8 years. We're going to take time out from our story to ask you to like, subscribe, share, comment, hit that notification bell, and repeat when it comes to our videos. Now, back to our story. In 1989, Johnny was featured on Stacey Lattisaw's song, Where Do We Go From Here?, which went number 1. While joining New Edition helped establish Gill as a star, it would be his third solo album that would cement that status for him. The album was titled Johnny Gill and was released in 1990. It yielded 3 number 1 hits, Rub You the Right Way, My, and Wrap My Body Tight. Fair Weather Friend hit number 2 on the charts. Ultimately, the album went quadruple platinum. While his follow-up releases included the hits The Floor, Let's Get the Mood Right, and It's Your Body, he never again reached the heights as a solo artist as he did in 1990. However, during that time, he did feature on Shanice's song Silent Prayer, which went to number 4, as well as on Shabba Ranks' Slow and Sexy, which went number 4 as well. In 1996, New Edition would get back together again, and Bobby Brown returned to the group as well. Album-wise, the reunion was a hit, as it went double platinum. The songs Hit Me Off, I'm Still in Love with You, and You Don't Have to Worry all made it into the top 10. The tour, though, that was something different. The whole thing was a mess. Bobby, who was still struggling with his addictions, was staying on stage too long while doing his set of songs. Once, Ronnie DeVoe tried to pull Brown off stage in order to get him to stop. This caused a fist fight to break out, and security got involved too. Guns started being fired and shots rang out. All of this caused both Bobby Brown and Michael Bivins to leave the tour, leaving Gill, Tresvant, DeVoe, and Bell to finish the tour as a foursome. After this fiasco, Johnny formed the group LSG with Keith Sweat and Gerald Levert. Initially, the trio, which was Keith's idea, was supposed to be Sweat, Levert, and R. Kelly. But for whatever reason, Kelly changed his mind about joining the group, and Gill took his place. Their debut album, Levert, Sweat, Gill, went number 2 on the R&B charts, going double platinum. The single My Body was a big hit also, as it went number 1. Despite the way things went on their reunion tour in 1996, New Edition would come together again without Bobby and release the album One Love in 2004. Since then, Bobby has returned to the group. Along with a residency in Las Vegas, New Edition has resumed touring across the country. Johnny Gill has one of the greatest and most distinct voices in R&B. During a career that's lasted over 40 years, he's reached the pinnacle of success as a solo act, on duets, as a featured artist, and as a member of 2 different groups. While his name doesn't always come up when people talk about the greatest artists of all time, the history of R&B music couldn't be told without mentioning Johnny Gill's name. Happy birthday, Johnny. Since it's his birthday, we won't talk about the rumors about him and Eddie Murphy, or about his tax woes with the IRS. Maybe we'll revisit those things some other time. What's your favorite Johnny Gill song? Do you think Johnny gets the respect he deserves as an artist? Is he underrated? Let us know in the comments. Thank you all for checking out our video. We appreciate you spending time with us. We have other videos too, though, that need love. Take some time to check those out as well. Thanks again, and see you soon.